Well, good afternoon everybody, it's Richard here, and I'm going to chat to you this afternoon about a case gramophone that I've been working on for the last few weeks. I actually thought I'd actually made a video about it, a project video about it, but clearly I hadn't. It's the Volmar machine, which is a portable machine. And I've had it in the house for a while, and I've dug it out from under the sideboard literally and dusted it off, and I've started doing some work on it. It needed quite a bit of tinkering with, and also a new strap handle which I sourced from a seller on eBay, and I've been doing some work on that slowly. It's quite a lightweight machine. I wouldn't say it's in the same category as an HMV 101 or 102, but it does sound very nice, and it's got some rather nice parts to it. And the motor I had for it, I've had a few challenges with that, which I'll chat to you about as we go through. But before then, I just thought I'd give a shout out to a chap called John Speed, who actually works down in Cornwall. I've been using Chris Baker Antiques whenever I need some gramophone needles or a little bit of advice if I get stuck, which isn't very often because I've refurbished a lot of gramophones in my time, and I love doing that as it makes a change from doing radios and amplifiers and record players. But this one did give me a bit of a challenge, so I gave Chris a ring, and it turns out that he's ceased trading now. He's had the footfall across his shop, Chris Baker Antiques in Sandwich, just opposite the market area there, has actually fallen so much that he's hung up his spanners, as it were, which is a bit sad news. But he did give me advice about contacting John Speed, and so I gave John a ring, and lo and behold, he's helped me out. And in fact, it validated what I already thought myself, which is really nice when you get somebody who's an expert in their field, as I call them, and you find you're stuck and they find the same thing. So we came to an agreement basically, and so on that one. But I'm just going to take Mr. Panasonic off his perch. Just bear with me, and I'll show you round the Volmar. Hang on a minute. There we go. Okay. Right, let me just turn this round. Okay, now you're looking at the Garrard number 20 motor here. Now there was one exactly like this in the Volmar. This is the Volmar machine, and as you can see, it's the Volmar portable gramophone type R25, and it's actually made by Industrial Sound Equipment Limited, London, England, it said on there. And this is the motor board and various components that go around with it, and I'll give you a tour of that in a second. So, but getting back to the actual motor itself, the one I had was identical to this, but and I had a problem. If you remember that I did make a slight reference to this in the last video when I was talking about the Denon radio equipment that I purchased from the Isle of Sheppey, if you remember rightly. I was having trouble with the spring box, because these spring boxes are quite an interesting concept. As you can see, they look a little bit like a sort of well, they are a box, literally a round box with the large sprocket at the bottom, which drives the smaller sprocket, which gives you the speed for 78 and or above and below, and the escapement of course is through the governor, which is on the side there. And what happened is I took the whole thing apart, and unfortunately it came detached. The main sprocket, the main spindle inside here, came detached from the spring inside this box, and I was having great difficulty getting it back in again, so much so that I thought, well, I don't know, something I'm not doing correctly. So that's why I contacted Chris Baker, and he suggested I talk to John Speed. John Speed said they are a devil once they come off. There's an eye inside there. Once they come off, it's very hard to get them back on again, which was probably what I was experiencing. And I said to him, well, I tell you what, could I send it down to you so I can get on with the rest of the refurb, and would you better put it back in the motor for me? And I just happened to send him the whole of the engine, whole of the motor together, anyway, it came back like this, which isn't the original one. So I obviously contacted him again. He said, well, actually, Richard, I had real difficulty getting the whole thing to work. And I said, that's strange, because I had done originally. And it turns out, I think what happened is it was working before I took it apart, and I think what happened is there was some excess wear on some of the sprockets on this machine in the time it had been used, And when I took it apart, by taking it apart and moving things round, obviously I didn't put it back in quite the same positions it was in before, and that's why it was jamming up. So there were two things going on basically. There was the spring box problem, and then there was the jamming of the various sprockets on the wear of that machine. Because I mean, these things are over 70 years old, so you know there is possible. And John said to me, sometimes you get to a point where you change things around with some parts you've got in your workshop, and you can spend your whole life trying to get these things to work. And sometimes it's better just to cut your losses and say scrap them and start again. So which is what I've done. So I've purchased this machine, this motor, from him, which is identical to the one that we had before, and obviously I'll do some work on that and give it a re-grease and so on, like I've done the other thing. So that's the motor. The actual gramophone case itself isn't in too bad a condition, and I have done some cleaning and some bit of painting, and it's usual plyboard stuff with Rexon casing there. It will have another polish. The other thing is, of course, is that it's got a, excuse me, put that down a second, it's got a nice turntable, nice bit of felt on there. There we go. And then the actual case itself, it's quite nice. I've restuck the label on there because it was coming off on that bit, so it's not bad. It's quite shiny. Hinges need a bit of work on them. The actual amplification on this is quite unique, really. It's got like just a very shallow, I don't know what you call that, sort of scoop, you know. Normally with a 101 you get a nice big metal horn, internal horn, that comes out about here. This one, it just sits over the top, so you've got the tone arm which sits over here, and then all that happens is the sound is amplified by the use of the lid, and obviously this slight scoopment I suppose you'd call it here. I've got some little bit of work to do on the hinges, they're a little bit rusty, so I'm going to clean those off. But it's all there, and as I say, it's been sitting under the sideboard for quite a while, and that's before I got round to dealing with it. So I'm quite pleased so far. And what I did last weekend, I just repainted the bits. I got this because the strap handle was missing, so I had to I purchased this on eBay from a seller there who was selling these things, and I've repainted the ends. That's one, and that's the other one. I've just repainted those. So it doesn't look too bad. I think when I've polished this with some black boot polish, it will actually, or shoe polish, it will come up quite nicely. And I also had to paint a little bit. I've got a bit more paint to do on the ring for the tone arm, and so I'll give this one clean. It doesn't look too bad. I've got a little bit of work to do on that. And because of the alloy, there was a crack. I had to stick this piece together. It would come away. I think you can just about see a crack there in the corner. I've had to stick it back together with some super glue, and so I shall put that back carefully. But I mean, it when it's had some grease on that, it turns all right, and won't inhibit as it crosses the record with the tone, with the voice box. The voice box, I had to rebuild that totally. It's one that I've been using. I think I might be able to just about reach over and get that here. Oh, that's a spare one. Hang on a minute. Where are we? Here we go. Right, this is the gold ring. Now I think you may have seen me use this before on one or two machines. I had to repair this, and as you can see, I had to open the box and redo the diaphragm that's inside there. It works very well, and I managed to find a screw that was identical to the one that would hold the needle in place. It's a fairly light alloy, like all of these are. I repainted all this a little while ago, so that one. So that will sit comfortably there until I'm ready to give it a test run. So there you go. I think that's about all really today. This is the Volmar portable gramophone, part one, I suppose, of the project. And when I've done a bit more work, I'll actually come back and tell you show you a bit more. Just on another subject, I've fitted the Denon system into the workshop here, and originally I had some Sansui speakers, but the sound from this machine wasn't that wonderful. I still don't think it is perfect, but I think these January speakers are actually wonderful. They've got, and it gives it a bit better sound. The bass response is quite light, so I've got the bass on full here. I might actually just use a Pioneer amplifier because the rest of it's working. I've also fitted a new aerial into the workshop because it wasn't picking out very well on Classic FM, which is my favourite channel. So, but anyway, that's just a little bit of a little side issue for you all, and hope to speak to you all very soon. Take care.